speed, flow and power. My name is Scott McKercher from Margaret River, Western Australia, 41 years old. My life path has pretty much been owned by the wind since I was probably when there was conflict between junior football and yachting, when I had to make a decision between Sunday sailing or Sunday football. And then that quickly evolved into the first windsurfer that was bought in the family at 13 years old, and then that started a lifetime of racing, competing, through till finishing high school. Tried to make it a career of it at 18, 19. Sort of stuffed it up a bit. Went to college for a couple of years, 20, 21, and then realised I really wanted to windsurf and did 18 or 19 years on the tour. Through that whole time, I was very fortunate to be sponsored as a grommet, getting boards made for me by local manufacturers down here in Dunsborough by the late Greg Lorenzen. After that, good shaper down here, Mick Manolis, and then it was Neil Skeltimer that convinced me to go and give the tour another crack when I was at college, and that's what led me into a lifetime of competing and trying to find the best boards that I can. You know. The main thing about boards for me is 3 words that I've been looking for my whole life, and it's kind of been a mantra walker, either in a heat or what I've been looking for in boards, and that's speed, flow and power. It's like, you know, a board that handles to be pushed hard, one that generates speed from being pushed hard, and flow, it's got to be smooth. You know, it's got to have a smooth rail carving arc to it, and it's also got to have an automated response to when you hit the lip. Like it's so the board that's, you can just stick it up there without thinking at full speed, and the board's going to want to just hit, react and come down. And there's many different ways a board can hit the lip and react, and that's why it's kind of nice to have different boards in the range, because there's certain things about the code that I really like. Having swapped off with Philip the other day, I was like, oh, that's a really nice sensation. It does it automatically. And then the quad's a different sensation again, you know. Especially this current range of quads are unbelievably versatile because of the evolution of how it evolved. But basically a board, in my eyes, has to work in all conditions. You got to be able to take it to the local beachy, it's got to be able to work, and you got to take it to mast and a half down the line, and it should work in that as well. And it's something that has always been able to be done in all the boards over the years, I'm pretty sure. And especially this year was going to Tenerife and really focusing on the sort of more cross onshore element again. And then these quads had so much drive that I was just blown away. Like, there was the one board that had this rocker that had the sort of last year's outline on it, and it felt really nice, and I was like, oh, I might even just jump in the comp and do that, because I was there and there was a good swell coming. Anyway, that board was really sweet. Had some element to it that was just a bit boggy and a bit too down the line, so we squared it up to give a bit more onshore appeal. And then when I got back to the Canaries, it was still a bit funky, and then there was some modifications done again, and then it just hit the spot, and I was just like, 5.0 underpowered, not even planing, and just these full high-speed rail driving acceleration situations that I'd never experienced. And then I got really excited about this one board. Yeah, and then we made a couple more, and then I was like, okay, but it's got to work down the line as well. So then my next trip was up to northwestern Australia, and it was solid mast high, just like firing, and then it was working insanely good there too. Just like the ability to, when you're going down the line, have speed, initiate rail, and just project vertically. And I was just having a ball, so it was like mission accomplished for that board, which was the 74. The word drive is just like when you put the board on rail, it's the acceleration you get out of that. Like, say in an onshore situation, or in any situation really, it's when you engage the rail and start to accelerate. It's the four fins that really accentuate that drive as well, in combined with the sort of the monoconcave, getting the flat rocker through the middle and the outline curve and hip. It's acceleration from being on rail is drive. And the current quads are really good from generating drive from on the spot. So you do backside, like a little snap or something, and you're not moving, you just engage the rail, the thing just accelerates, you know. So, and it works in all conditions.
I was sailing on the quad 74, and that board just does whatever you want. It just gives you so much drive and projections to hit the lip. It's just, yeah, you can just wait, and once you have to go for it, you just full committed, you can go for it, and it will just gives you the drive just to hit it wherever you want to go, and not what the waves want to do. Like, you can just time it so well that you don't have to think about don't have to think about where my board is, what I'm doing, my sail, whatever. You just go and just boom, hit it, and just land, and just wow, sweet, it's a sick feeling. I think one of the best airs I had was it wasn't a very big wave, but it was so clean that it was just bowling. I just went under it, boom, hit it, and it just was floating just in front of the section, just landed in the flats so hard that I felt like I almost snapped the board. Just went BAM! And I was like, whoa, fuck.
And there's a couple of old classics lying in the back of my house and in the shed. And one that comes to mind is an old board that I retired many moons ago in Silt. I had it on tour for a long time. It was one that Matthias Holmberg shaped for me when I first joined Starboard. And it was the precursor to a lot of boards, I think. There's a lot in that board that was inherent in boards down the track. Even though you look at it now, it just looks hideously long and rocket up in the nose, but in the tail outline, that got carried through into a lot of boards. And it was also a forward V into flat, which, but it was a subtle forward V to flat, which evolved into a lot of later starboard wave boards over the years as well. So that was a precursor. Yeah, there's a few trophy on my drink cabinet. The one really, either for importance or just because they're really nice, or significance. The Australian Junior title that I won here in Margs in like '88. I think one's a national title because, you know, winning a national title in Margs, and they're both really nice wooden carved trophies. One was the Silt event, that was pretty big for me back in the day, and the world title one of '04.
Yeah, it's just one little thing we've got going. It's every time we do anything, it's a battle of who wins. Golf, any kind of little moral dilemma or issue that goes on, it always seems we're on opposing sides, and it's a matter of the winner and the loser. But everything's a competition with Scott, so that's the way it is. But I usually come out on top, so it's okay. I won the iPod battle. Scott will say he won, but he knows deep inside that I was the winner.
Oh! Did you get that?
This is a bullseye.
I bet you don't get one in 6 darts. That's close. Closer. Oh!
Not bad.
That was a mini John.
That wasn't bad at all, actually.
Mini John collapse. Like, normally he actually falls to the ground and rolls around for a bit. the competitiveness with JC, I don't know when it started. You know, because I've always been a bit of a little bit competitive, always. But I'm not sure if it was ping pong or what game initially started it. But then it just got worse and worse, and yeah, highly entertaining, with some absolutely unbelievable JC moments and some just horror capitulations from myself as well.
You still have that, showed me a video once where he needed to hold a putt to beat you, and he failed, and he dropped to the floor and banged it. You still have that on video?
I don't.
You don't? Then we can talk about it, then we can...
I wish.
You can reenact it.
It was a beautiful moment. I was ahead all game, and then just blew this hole, and all of a sudden he was in front and just so cocksure of himself that he's going to win, and just like, because JC's a really bad loser, but he's also a really bad winner. He's famous for these star jumps. He's actually grown up a bit. He stopped doing that. Basically, the front fins are set to the optimal. The back fins, I prefer them a little bit forward of the centre in the box, just a little bit tighter arc and a bit of the ability to fizz the fins a little easier, a bit more release. If you want a bit more directional stability and you know, a more of a karting biting turn than releasing, I'd move the fins back a little bit. But yeah, so somewhere between the front of the box and central, I think is pretty much optimal. Forward's gonna like make the board like turn in a tighter arc, but will be a little bit more releasey in the fins for sort of letting the tail go. Sort of when you hit the lip, if you move it back, it's going to be more directional, more tracking, a little bit safer in bigger waves maybe. But yeah, if you want safety, you'd move it back to maybe the middle of the board, and forward for release and sort of new school Taka spinning type manoeuvres. Yeah, the new blue fins is a new material. Compared to the G10s, they've got a little bit more flex and a little bit sort of smoother into and out of a turn. A little bit more forgiving through a turn instead of the G10s just brutal biting, and so yeah, just smoother. For me, I like the backstrap being more on the tail of the board for just really the bite through a cutback. And my size, my spread is generally from the middle to the back on the front foot. So
Yeah, that's the size of the gap between my legs, I suppose. Okay, to move it forward, I'd probably move it to, it gets the board more rotational and you're a little bit more forward and you can spin better for sort of Taka type moves. So that's when I'd go into the forward position on the back foot.